Would you please welcome to the stage Joel Kim Booster, Russell Daniels, and Gianmarco Soresi!
Coming out, Just For Laughs. Russell, how you doing?
Good. Oh,
Good. Oh, great.
Good.
Great start. We were going to have Russell stage left, and it all went to chaos the second we came up. But no, it's fine.
No, this is good. This is good. This is good.
Okay. Hi, everyone. How are you doing? So I know, listen, sometimes with live podcasts, round of applause if you've listened to The Downside before. Okay, good. Okay, good.
okay.
Thank you. I have stickers. I'm supposed to get free stickers.
Okay, well, we'll
it's in
get
the
to
hotel
it,
room.
yeah.
I'm here with Russell, came all the way
Hi.
from New York City.
Yes.
Just for today.
Just for today.
And your room's across from mine.
Yes.
So it's been loud.
Yeah.
Tough getting sleep across from Russell. It's true. Yeah, a lot of you're just like, come on my stomach.
No.
And we are here with our special guest. Please, big round of applause. Joel Kim Booster, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. Is it
this-
on?
I think they're on. They're just maybe a little low, but
Yeah.
I think it's on.
Thank you.
I hear it. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
If as long as you can hear me, that's fine. Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
Well,
amazing.
well, thank you. Thank you for coming. We're
Of
very
course,
happy to
thanks for
have you.
having me.
You. I did New Faces last year. When did you do New Faces?
Oh God, why would you do this? I did New Faces when I was. It's 2016, so very old face now. But yeah, great memories.
Yes, I did. So I did New Faces last year. Pete Holmes was hosting it, and I was in the second show. And so he comes out. He gave everyone a speech. Everyone's nervous, and he was like, "You're going to be great. This is a great. Everyone's so rooting for you." And then he pulled the second group aside. I was in the second group. He's like, "Just so you guys know, second show is usually way better." and we were like, "Okay, thanks, Pete." And he does the first show. It was hot. It sounded like a great show. Then they start the second show. Pete does his set. He comes back and he goes, "They are tired. They are really tired." And thank God it went okay. But for those of you who have not listened to The Downside, this is a place where we're allowed to be negative. We don't have to be grateful for being at JFL. We can complain that the travel stipend was not enough to get here.
Not
That's
enough
what this
to
show
make it
is.
worth it. Yeah.
And we'll get to you in a second. But I wanted to share. I've been so there's a guy who asked me for feet pics a while ago, and for money.
Yeah,
He said he'd give me money,
I
not
assumed.
just free.
I assumed. Yeah.
And I was like, I said no, that's okay. But I wasn't sure because I don't care about my feet.
Right.
I wear.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
I put it on Instagram, whatever. But I have a girlfriend now, and it was just like something I wanted to run by, and it went away. But then it came back. And I was like, you know what? I really would like a pedicure.
Is he sending you like other messages in between, like I like this video, or like nice complimentary?
Great crowd work
comedy
clip.
things?
I'd love those feet pics
Yeah,
again.
Okay.
No, it was just
feet stuff.
I don't even know if he knows my work.
How did he find out about your feet? By the way, like
Yeah.
Because on the podcast, I usually like sit like like this.
Oh,
And
yeah.
What is wrong with feet?
I really am. I'm feeling I will pay you to put them away. Honestly.
Whenever I see those pictures of people complaining, like on the airport, someone has their foot like here.
Yeah.
I'm always like, what's
That's
so
you.
wrong with that?
That is you. Yeah.
So I decided I was like, okay, if I could get enough money
How much?
to pay for, I think it's $60 for feet pics. Hold up, stop. What is it worth? They're worth nothing.
I don't know.
I'm shocked because I don't know what a sexy foot is to someone who's into feet, but it cannot be my foot. I have 9.5 size. What size are you?
I'm a 9. Yeah.
You're 9?
Yeah.
You're.
I'm 15. I can get
so-
way more
but-
than $60 for my feet.
But that's what I don't know. Like I don't know if like in the feet world it's like, do big feet matter?
Yeah,
or is
I
it
don't
like
know, I
no?
don't
For
know.
some people, big feet hurt.
No,
like I don't know
sometimes
the
they like-
rules.
Yeah. They like little doll feet sometimes. you
Yeah.
know?
Sure.
Yeah.
So it was like I think 60, and it
Wait,
covered.
he said 60 or you suggested 60?
I think he offered 50 or 60, and then he's like, if that's not enough, let me know. And so I decided, and here's an ethical thing. I was almost about to lie, but that's not this show. I was like, should I say it costs more so I can pay for my girlfriend to get a pedicure too, and then she'll be okay with it? Yes? Okay, good. I just want to figure out the morality of the room, and now that we've found it, that's exactly what I did.
Okay.
So yeah, it basically paid, not fully. My girlfriend, she says I didn't cover the full. So we both got pedicures. And then she helped me take the pictures, and she got into it. I mean, like, I was like, I just took it, and she was like, no, separate these toes, flex
Separate
it
the
here.
toes.
But I didn't even know, like, is it, like, I didn't know the angle. I don't know what it's like.
Right.
And he was like,
Well, you should have asked him.
He was like, well, he did.
What he
So-
wanted.
So he said, I think he said, like, one from the top, one from the bottom, and then, like, I think I threw in another one just to be nice. Like, I did a little cross one. And then now he wants to buy me sandals, too. He said, can I buy you sandals? And I'm just like, how far? This can't go on forever.
Birkenstocks are not cheap.
Birkenstocks
are not cheap. You could do way better than whatever this bullshit is on your feet right now.
But you must have, your feet must be on that celeb
Yeah,
feet
I'm on
pics.
WikiFeet, and I got to tell you, my score is low. It is like way lower than you would think it is. I'm getting to the point where now I almost want to like plant pictures on my Instagram feed so that the rating will go up a little higher.
Yeah.
But there are comments. The arch is not great. Yeah, I have flat feet. So that, and apparently you have great arches. So.
I guess so. I want to talk to, you know what, we do need to have a guest who is into feet, because I have
Yeah.
so many, I just, like,
Couldn't
is
be
it,
me. Could
do you
not
go,
be me,
do you
yeah.
go to the beach and you're hard the whole time?
Yeah.
There's a sandal, like, oh, you slut.
Yeah.
Like, you're so close. Do you need to see the
Yeah.
whole feet?
Yeah.
Is it about the crevices?
I see.
What?
My thing is like I'm not even disgusted just by other people's feet. Like I don't even like it when people are into my feet. Like I had a situation where I was like fucking this guy, and he put my foot in his mouth, and I went no, not that. I don't like this. You did not get permission. Consent is cute, you know, and I almost shut it all down in that moment. It was
Really?
such a turnoff to me. I was like, well, you can't put your mouth on my mouth now when I know where it's been and I know where the feet have been. So
Sure.
it was really rough.
It's probably the dirtiest part of the body, the
Yeah,
feet.
it's got to be, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that might be part of it, though.
But do you get your toe sucked?
No, not really. No, not. I'm very averse to any of the foot stuff. No.
Sure. No, I believe you.
And
No more
let me
questions.
be clear here. Let me be clear here. I am someone who uses my literal butt for sex, and
Yeah.
I draw the line at feet. Okay,
Yeah.
I literally won't do it.
it can't be easy to give a foot job. It's a
No.
lot of abs. I feel like it
No.
would be. I feel like I do
I
this in
feel
yoga
like you're
class.
just
I
doing
could
this
do
so
it.
he'll send you more money right now.
I bet this is worth $200 at least. I could cover the flight here next
Did he
time.
respond? Did he say good? I like these.
He said
What'd he say?
wow, like I
Wow.
really nailed it. I mean, my
Okay.
girlfriend nailed it. To be fair, she
Yeah.
got the lighting right.
And do you think he'll come back? Probably, right?
Oh, then he said, "What's the sandal size? Let me send you some sandals."
Okay, so
and I
you're
think
like
he'll send
in
me
a
something
thing with
nice.
him. You're like doing this.
But like, will it be like a sexy sandal, like whatever the equivalent of like a nice lingerie for a
Yeah.
sandal,
Like a
it will be
thong?
a see-through sandal,
Yeah.
an edible sandal.
Are you? If people contact you just on like DM you now about your feet, are you gonna continue this with other people or just him?
I think it's just a strange.
He put in the work.
Or maybe
He's
it's
been talk-
OnlyFans, honestly.
Well, because I don't care about my feet, so it feels fine. Like, so I'll do it, but it did feel weird. It felt weird to send.
Yeah.
But that's.
Did it feel good though? Does it feel good that you know someone's jerking off to photos of you right now?
I guess, but I'd rather it be my body than my feet. You know?
Yeah.
I haven't put any work into my feet. I'm not responsible for these at all. That's my foot story. Now you know Russell. You saw Russell in Titanic.
Has anyone in here seen Titanic, the musical? Yes.
Smattering.
Star.
Thank you.
Literally, I'm sure you've heard this story. Lauren Michaels saw you and said you are the next Chris Farley.
I didn't know you would know that.
Shut up.
Yeah. We go out for drinks, Lauren and I, all the time. No. That's the word on the street. That's like the legend of your performance in Titanic.
It's very kind.
Yeah.
But yes.
Well, we're gonna miss you when you die young, buddy. I'll tell you that right now.
He's just wildly unhealthy. That's the main thing. He's just an unhealthy person.
That guy has the lifespan.
That guy
of
is not going
Chris
to live to his 40s. No, I was going to say, because I remember when you came, because it was a big day. Everyone was leaving the show that had been there for a while. And we as the cast, and I think probably you as the audience, that's what I want to ask you about, we knew that they were going to do something at the end, but we didn't know. I felt like maybe the audience and ourselves on stage felt a little like hostages, because we finished the show and then there was like 20 minutes of like things happening and speeches, and I felt like the audience felt trapped. Did you feel trapped?
I did not feel trapped. No,
Okay, good.
I enjoyed it. I felt like it was something special that we like. I was like, oh, I should have paid extra for this. 20 minutes of
Okay, good.
speeches.
Okay, good. I was concerned.
And it was like cool to see Marla and Nicole like together. It was like,
Yes.
it felt very special.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
when in my college for the theater kids, when they did their last show, after the bows, the seniors come out and they would kiss the floor. They'd kiss the stage. That was the ritual. Your final show at the University of Miami.
Oh.
Kiss the floor. You just wasted $200,000.
Yeah.
One last humiliation before you go off. Wow, senior year ensemble of Rent. Good for you. You were a theater kid.
I was a theater kid. I'm recovering, but I was
Yeah?
a theater kid. I also put myself $100,000 in debt to go and get a useless degree.
NYU?
No, baby. Millikan University. Yeah, it is the world. It's in Decatur, Illinois, which is the largest producer of soybeans in the country. And soybean processing, I don't know if any of you are aware of this, smells like dog food being cooked on a stove. Yeah, it's really lovely. But yeah, the original voice of the Little Mermaid went to my school, as well as the woman who played the Little Mermaid on Broadway. So we have that going for us.
Well, not to one-up you here, but the guy Ariana Grande is dating now went to my high
SpongeBob?
school theater program.
So you went to school with SpongeBob.
But I was a senior. He was either a freshman or he was in 8th grade, but we definitely interacted on some capacity. And he graduated, he played SpongeBob SquarePants on Broadway. Then he got in Wicked. He married his high school sweetheart.
Had a child
Last November. And after SpongeBob, he got in Wicked. They're filming a movie version of it. And then on set, I guess him and Ariana hit it off.
Yeah.
And now they're dating. And it's hard to think that I was so close to being SpongeBob on Broadway.
Yeah.
Babe, you're a Squidward. You're a
Here's the thing.
down. You are a Squidward down.
Right.
Okay.
I had a callback for an original version of SpongeBob, and I got a callback for Squidward. So it's true.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That was
Definitely.
me. You could be
Yeah.
Patrick.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. Yeah.
I suppose with Sandy the squirrel. What are you gonna? You're gonna be Plankton.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my claim to fame.
Did you, when you knew him in high school, was he pulling tail like crazy or?
No, not at. I think.
Wait,
this
so
is
you were
one
a
of-
senior. He was in 8th grade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
8th grade or a freshman.
much
He was
younger.
like it was in the ensemble for something.
Got
I did.
it. Okay.
And I saw him and I was like, "You're gonna fuck Ariana Grande." No, he's a small Jewish boy.
Yeah, it is something. There's
And he has
something,
red hair.
There's something about women who do theater that they come into it after many years and they are so traumatized by being surrounded by so many gay men that as soon as one eligible straight person shows up in their eye line, they've lost it.
You were talking about my whole life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I knew a lot. I knew a lot of in musical. I did this musical theater camp where it was like a woman and she had fallen in love with a guy, and he ended up being gay. But like something about him coming
Tales
out
old
like
as
really fucked her up. Like
Yeah.
I think like she wasn't like, oh, I did this, but I think like deep internally she really struggled with it. And then we went to the same musical camp, and he was like rooming with his new boyfriend, and they were both named Mike, and they looked the same, and it was just, I think, for her very dramatic to feel like your boyfriend left you for himself.
Yeah. That duo is running every single theater camp across the country right now. Like a woman who's been tragically left by a man named Mike for a man named Mike. You know.
Is there Do you have any friends where they date a guy and they they look exactly the same and you're like, can we joke about it at all?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is like boyfriend twins is like a completely naturally occurring phenomenon that happens in the gay community all the time. It is wild. Like one time I remember I was in such a K-hole and my friend was showing me a picture of his new boyfriend on his Instagram and I zoomed in on the face and I said, "Oh my God, he's so cute." And my friend was like, "That's me." So I couldn't even tell. In fact, one time actually, we were at this like warehouse party where like everyone, it's like shirts off, everyone looks exactly the same. This guy comes up, he's like a big muscly white gay guy with a beard and like an earring and a sleeve tattoo. So he's wearing the uniform basically, and he comes up and he goes, "Have you guys seen someone who looks exactly like me?" And and we were like, "Babe, look around, look at the material." And then he was like, "No, it's my twin. He's really fucked up."
Oh my God.
It was an amazing
It is
story.
a thing, though. I know three gay couples that all look the same. And it's not that they just look the same, it's that they also dress the same and like sometimes have the same facial hair and things like that. So they really commit to all of it. So they must know on some level, right?
They have to. They have to. And I think it's part of it. Like that's what they're attracted to. But I also think like the similar thing but not the same thing is there's also a phenomenon in the gay community of salt and pepper shaker boyfriends, where they don't look, bear with me, they don't look identical, but they look a part of the same set. And that is what like you know? Like I'm looking around here actually, and I'm trying to
you
find
see any?
a scenario where actually you two are sort of salt and pepper shaker couple, I would say. Like you don't look the same, but you look like you would be purchased together, you know?
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah, that's cute.
The number of terminology, I'm like, I think I got it, otter, bear, daddy, I got it, and then no.
No, there's always new stuff being
It's like
made.
Judaism in a way. There's just so many.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, and in fact, it's very similar. Like when you want to convert to being gay, you have to be denied 3 times.
So you were homeschooled?
Yes, homeschooled until I was a junior in high school. So it's a wonder I turned out so well adjusted. But here I am.
Was there anything socially you did that like I just can't imagine making friends at 16. I mean, I had a tough enough time as it was, and I was
Yeah.
in school the whole time.
I would say the biggest thing for me was that like I had very little filter. I was very honest, and like and it serves me well in my current profession. Obviously, I was an oversharer to the max. And the thing that I think did not make sense to me the most was because so much of my understanding of what friendship was came from like television and pop culture, and because I didn't have a lot of friends until I went to school. And the thing that shocked me the most was how much shit people talk about their friends. And like I didn't get that, and I didn't understand that like people would be like, "Oh, Emily's always late. Like I can't believe that. What is wrong with this bitch that she's always late? She's always showing up 10 minutes late to everything that we do." And then Emily would come in and I'd be like, "Emily, you know everybody hates you because you're late?" You know, like and that would be like a situation that would happen a lot. And so like it was a real struggle bus for a while to like make lasting friendships, because I would like reveal all of these things, and like cuz it didn't make sense to me why we wouldn't just tell Emily that we hate her for being late, and then she'd stop being late, you know?
I have a friend who's late all the time that I would love for you to be around to.
Yeah.
It's not me. It's not me.
No, it's not. No,
No,
it's not. And when you were homeschooled, because I know your parents were religious.
Yeah.
And did your dad, what religion?
Southern Baptist.
Southern Baptist.
Yeah.
But was your dad leading sermons at home? Or
Yeah, so we didn't even go to church until I was in like junior high. My dad would like lead church at home, and we wouldn't interact with anyone else in the community. It was, as you're all thinking, a cult. But
And-
like he would just basically read from the Bible, and we would talk about it. Every
But it called
Sunday.
that he grew up in that religion, and then he
Yeah.
was like, I have a couple.
Yeah. He was like, "I'll start a franchise," you know. He's like, "I can do this."
Was there anyone else, or just you
No, it was
and
just
your
our immediate family.
you and
Yeah.
your 2 siblings?
2 siblings, mom. Yeah.
And you'd sit down, in the living room? Was there a church room?
No, it was like living room, sometimes his room, like sometimes my parents' room. We would all just like be on the bed listening to, you know, Bible verses. You're making this weirder than it needs to be, honestly.
I just can't imagine like keeping everyone. It's just like if my dad said, you know, kids, I'm going to put on a sketch show after dinner, and you're all going to. It's just like it's so to do it every week.
Yeah.
My parents were just more disorganized. I just can't
No,
imagine
yeah.
it being.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I would prefer hearing passages from the Bible to a sketch show put on my dad. I'll say that right now. I love comedy, but
Was it always like very? Did he ever riff off the Bible and he's like, and that's why you should clean your room?
no, I mean, there were definitely like things where he'd be like, "Do you understand this? Like, let's talk about what this means and things like that." But like, he was never editorializing too much about stuff like that. Like, he would be like, "This is why you need need to be respectful to mom and dad," like things like that. And I do remember one time they tried to fold in like a version, like basically my parents didn't want to talk to me about sex, so they handed me a book when I was like 11 or 12 called How to Talk to Your Kids About Sex, and just had me read the book, so sort of cutting out the middleman. And then we had like a Sunday where we talked about what I read in the book.
And I imagine it was a very heteronormative book.
Yes, very heteronormative.
It didn't have salt and pepper shaker relationships towards
no,
the
it
end.
did. I remember. The conversation got shut down pretty early because I remember he was like, "What sorts of things did you learn from the book? Like, what surprised you?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize oral sex was not just like mouth on genitals. It could be like anything. It could be mouth on anything." And then they were like, "We're not talking about this anymore."
I mean, honestly, though, it's not like I had better sex ed. My sex ed in high school, it was freshman year, and it was the gym teacher who had they just were like, "You do gym now. You add this too."
Yeah.
And she's a lesbian, and she gathered us in the library, and she was like, "Hey, I'm gonna answer whatever questions you have, just so everyone knows. I'm a gold star lesbian." And we were freshmen in high school, and we said, "What's a gold star lesbian?" She said, "Oh, it means I never had sex with a man."
Wow.
And then all the guys, the only question any of us wanted to know was, like 10 guys asked, "Does size matter?" and what you want, I think it would be like, the lie that we tell. No, not really. But the teacher, she just saw the question because it was in a hat. It was anonymous.
Yeah.
And each one, she'd be like, "Does size matter?" Again, I don't know, guys. I have no idea. It could be vitally important, but I am a gold star.
I gotta tell
Gay.
you, if that teacher were like in Florida right now, she'd be in jail.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
She would be fully incarcerated in this day and age. But
What's-
I love her candor.
There's gold star gay, and then what's the even higher? It's if you had a C-section, so you. This is for men. Yeah, it's for men. There's a gold star gay, and then there's one step above. If you had a C-section, but you've
Yeah, I
never
gotta
touched a pussy.
stop you really quick too. I hate the term gold star gay.
Sure, this was a long time ago.
I know,
by the way.
I know,
This was,
I know. I just don't like that we've given ourselves like this award for not having sex with a woman when 90% of the time it's like, yeah, I doubt women were banging down your door. Like it's some sort of feat that you made it out without fucking a woman, as though that were an option to you and to begin with. And second of all, it's like. It's like we're giving ourselves a Purple Heart for making it out. It's so annoying. It's just like, so you didn't fuck a woman. It does not make you special. In fact, like I regret it.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I don't. I don't at all. I have fingered a woman though.
How was that?
It was on my 21st birthday. I'd been out for like 4 or 5 years.
It was like a
at this
birthday
point.
thing. Like,
Well,
it's
I
the
was-
birthday boy. Get him a pussy.
I was so blackout drunk, and she asked, and I'm a feminist, so I did it. And
She asked specifically for a fingering.
yeah.
Okay.
And
Could you
Good
spare
for
a
you.
fingering,
She
sir?
She knew what she wanted.
yeah, and then afterwards, I was so like, what does this mean? I started to cry.
Oh.
And I
While
made
inside, or you at least
no. On the curb outside, I sat and I was like, does this mean I'm not gay? And she was like, I'm pretty sure that this means you are gay. Like the gayest possible reaction to fingering a woman is crying about it
I
afterwards.
just would like being gay, like if someone fingering you, you're like, "Are you gay?" The way the finger, it's just like this. Just
Well, yeah,
because
because I was fingering her like this, you know? Like, just came in from an upwards angle, yeah.
So when you went to high school, you went right into theater.
Yeah, that was the big reason I was doing a lot of community theater, and I remember telling my parents, I was like, I really want to do like our theater program at the local high school because that was like the one thing you couldn't really do as a homeschooler. Like I was doing like church plays and stuff like that, but there's only so many times.
Who did you play in the church
I was
play?
Judas.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
Was it like this is? Did you have like a line? Did you go like?
Yeah. Well, there was like I was like into it because like Judas is the one that gets to kiss Jesus, you know. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
They were like a little
Less
less
tongue.
on the kiss.
Yeah.
I don't know what that. No need to embrace his backside.
Yeah.
I brought you a fourth gift. We had my middle school. It used to be a Christian school, but there were echoes of it still. And we would do a big Christian play around winter. And the shepherds, they had to kneel the whole show, and one kid would always faint.
What?
Because you're just kneeling for like an ungodly amount of time.
Yeah.
And
He would not make it in the gay community. I gotta tell you.
You ever do a church?
No,
Or
I never did.
Did
a
you ever
church.
do a church?
No, I didn't have it growing up at all. It was like I went with friends a couple times. You know, when like a friend who is religious invites you to go to something. But only one-offs, and that was it. Really, I had no relationship to it.
Yeah.
But
It's just the figuring out of the theater kid at church. Like with
Yeah.
Jewish stuff, Passover, you have the big, you still tell the story, and this kid goes like, nah, 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 and then you're like, give it to me, and then you're like, and then Moses.
yes,
And that's how you know.
yeah.
I still felt that. We did Passover recently, and there was just a feeling of like, when this book gets to me, you motherfuckers aren't ready. This is what I do for a living. She's a fucking lawyer. Forget about it. And do you remember when you stopped believing in this religion?
It was a slow burn because, like, basically what happened with me is I came out at school at 16, like pretty much a month after they sent me to public school. They sent me to public school.
It's like the proof right there
Yeah,
for
no,
these
no,
parents.
exactly.
Like 1 month in.
They sent me to public school. I drank for the first time. I smoked weed for the first time. I sucked a dick for the first time. I came flying out of the closet. Like it was
That
like,
was
Wait,
all in the first hour
Yeah.
of being in public school.
This was this was like
Free
homeroom.
periods
You know?
first.
Yeah. So like because I was under such lock and key for most of my life, and so everything I watched, everything I consumed, everything about my life was in so much like my parents controlled it all. And so when I had like an ounce of freedom, it was over. It was over.
That's why I'm more scared. I think like I didn't smoke weed really until college, and so that first time, like when you first drank, were you like excited? Were you like, what am I doing? Did it feel?
It felt very natural, I gotta say. Like
Yeah?
it just felt like this is the life I'm supposed to be leading.
Everything.
And yeah. It
full
just
thing.
felt normal. But so then I didn't come out to my parents until like my senior year, and they read my journal famously, and that's how they discovered I was doing all this shit. And then I like moved out of the house and like sort of hopped around for a while to different friends' houses. And it was this thing where like when I came out and I was out at school, I was like, okay, like I obviously can't deny that I'm gay. I guess I'm just gonna go to hell, and that's whatever. Like I'll deal with that in a later date, but I'm gonna be gay.
I'll have eternity
Yeah.
to figure that
Yeah.
out.
And but like I'm definitely going to hell. And then so what ended up happening is I ended up moving in with this girl that I had one class with. She like everybody knew that I was like sort of struggling and not at home. And she was like, hey, if you ever need a place to stay, you can come and stay with my family. And she and I were not friends. So I was like, you're just saying this to be nice. But then I got desperate and I showed up at her house and I was like, hey, can I stay here? And her parents were like, you can't just invite strange boys to sleep at our house. Like, her dad's a paraplegic. She had two younger brothers. Like, it was a lot going on in that house. But they let me stay the night. The next morning, they were like, come back for dinner. And I came back for dinner, and the long story short of it is I ended up staying there for the rest of my senior year. They co-signed on my student loans. They bought me a car for graduation.
Wow.
She's still my best friend to this day.
Wow.
And it was amazing. And the ironic thing is that her dad was the Methodist pastor in our town. And he was very progressive, though, like very into gay rights, very into like, just like sort of like God has no gender, there is no hell. And like staying there really saved my life because it was this thing where they caught wind of the fact that I thought I was going to hell for living my life the way I was. And they were like, oh, no, that's not how any of this works. And so it was like really helpful to have someone in authority, in a place of authority in religion, tell me that wasn't true. And I would say now I've sort of like transitioned into being fairly agnostic slash, borderline atheist. But it was really helpful for me to live in that period of my life where I was just like, okay, maybe like God doesn't hate me. And now I'm sort of like, God is vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I can't tell whether it's like, make religion even. Obviously, it should be more accepting, but part of me is like, some of this stuff needs to just go away wholesale. Because if you live in that area, you can create any rules underneath the concept of God. You can.
Yeah.
So it's just like if you keep it there, someone can put the homophobia right back in, or I don't know. This is not the most pro-religious. I always thought of Pete Holmes, like what would always bring up people's religion. I was like, I want to do the opposite. I want to find out when people stopped believing in God. And for some of them, it's listening to the podcast, and I feel like, I just think it's amazing. I don't know. I think the idea of being homeschooled until you're 16 and being just functional enough to, I guess you had no other choice but to figure it out.
Yeah.
But when you went to college. Sorry, was it the city you grew up in, or how far away?
No, it was like 3 hours south of where I grew up. Yeah.
And doing theater there too?
Doing theater.
Any
there,
good roles?
And English. No. I did a couple of things, like a lot of Shakespeare and things like that, and that's like what I wanted to do for a while. But I mostly switched. I did one summer of summer stock theater, which is like professional theater that happens over the summer.
Did you ever do summer stock?
I didn't. It wasn't called that. I did shows in the like a show in the summer. It was a really bad. It's a long story, but it's a really bad show called. Well, it's not bad. We're recording this. It's a fine show that is in Texas. It's called Texas the Musical Drama, and it's all about the history of Texas. And it's like a cast of 75 people. It's built into the wall of the second largest canyon in the United States. There's dancers. There's fire. There's horses. And
it sounds like Burning Man.
It's
Jesus.
all it's all very pro Texas. It's Texas exclamation point. And
How do they cover the Civil War? How do they get
they
out of
don't.
that pickle?
No. It's just about there's Native Americans that come out on stage and everything's good about it. There's no mention that they drove their buffalo off cliffs and things like that. No.
Oh
like,
my
it's
God.
It was. But so I did that for 2 summers.
And
what
what did you play in it?
experience.
Yeah.
I was a guy named Tucker Yeldell. He was a gold prospector in a town with no gold. That it was the comedic relief of the show.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It was but it was 2,000 people would come.
Did you have a voice? Do you have a prospector voice?
I mean, I don't. Me. It was yelly. It was like that kind of.
Where's
I
the
got
gold?
one voice.
There's no gold here, and I'm a prospector for gold.
Yeah, but with a southern accent.
Give me my horse. Hello, Native Americans, my friends. Thank you for your land.
My favorite part of the show is in the opening. There was there was a part where everyone sang, and they go, and the men would all sing. The women would all sing, "Where the women are happy," and the men go, "And never complain." So it was like that kind of show, It was like,
And every guy in that audience is nudging his wife, like, you hear?
Yeah.
Did you do anything like that?
Yeah, no, I did. The summer after my freshman year, it was my first paid acting gig. I did a show called Thoroughly Modern Millie for 70 performances, and I played Asian henchman in it, and it's and the
role is Asian henchman.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bunfu, and it was
it wasn't just henchman, and they were like, well, now it's an Asian.
No, they
henchman.
were specifically Asian henchmen, and it was this thing where the show is being intentionally racist as a comment on being racist.
Yeah.
That's always been.
But then
for
it
the
circled
podcast.
back around, and it just felt
it
racist.
is. Yeah.
And so that was fairly demoralizing. And I got back to school, and I was I don't want to do musical theater. That's not my bag. That's not what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I switched my major to dramatic writing and started and basically created, because they didn't really have that major, but I finagled my way into creating this major for myself. And so that's when I started writing.
And then Chicago.
Then Chicago afterwards.
And you did copywriting.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I worked at Groupon, but I was in the customer care division of Groupon, working.
People called you?
People called and emailed in. Lots of wacko things happened. There was definitely a Groupon for anal bleaching, and there was definitely an anal bleaching gone wrong, and they definitely emailed us pictures of it. Yeah, so I saw a lot of horrific things working for Groupon.
Wait, what did? Okay, when you hear an anal bleaching goes wrong, what do you imagine?
Burns, babe.
Oh,
Burns.
I thought it was like the bleaching just spread out, so it was like all over.
No,
So it
no,
just
it's
looked like
burning.
it looked like your anus just like
Yeah.
tie dye, tie dye. Oh God.
Yeah.
And
we're like, yeah, refund, sure.
there's certain things you don't.
We
There's
would've
certain
taken your
things
word
you don't
for
get
it.
a discount on. You know, and
Yeah.
anal bleaching is one of those.
Yeah, you
Full
don't wanna
price.
cut costs. Yeah.
Have you ever had an anal bleaching?
No, I don't need it.
Yeah. But then it would be too like white. I don't think there's any making it look other than what it is. What do you? No
I
thoughts?
don't have a thought. I think people can do whatever they want to do.
No,
and
I'm
you
not.
can do
I'm not
whatever
saying
you wanna
don't.
do.
I'm not saying you'll go to
know?
hell if you get an anal bleaching.
I don't have a.
So that shitty job overall.
It was fine. It was like the start of like ping pong tables and kegs at startup culture.
Yeah.
So everyone was
Oh.
sitting on a yoga ball. It was like very like loosey goosey. There was no dress code. I showed up looking like a fucking whore like every day.
Yeah.
Like I literally came in like short shorts and rollerblades one day. It was like making a complete mockery of the workplace. And when they also like let me go for auditions. They let me like. They kept like the ethos of Groupon was like the more successful you are at the thing you love doing, the more successful we will be as a company. And I was always like, no, the more successful I am at the thing I love doing, the more like closer I'll be to leaving this company.
Yeah.
But like, God bless them for thinking that. And I also like transferred to Groupon in New York when I moved to New York too, which was like convenient to have that as well.
I feel like I experienced the WeWork like right as it's wasn't
Yeah.
cool anymore.
Yeah.
Right as people were like, yeah, we don't need free beer at 8 a.m.
Well, it was I ended up working for this startup in New York at a WeWork. There were like 4 of us in this office space. And what you don't need to understand about WeWork is that every floor has what is essentially they're called community managers, and they are RAs. They are adult RAs. And like literally every day, every week, our RA would come and knock on our door and be like, "Hey guys, didn't see any of you at the happy hour on Friday. Everything going all right? We just love community." And it would be like, get away from us. We're trying to work, you know? Like, I don't want any of your alcoholic kombucha shoved down my throat.
Well, that's why now they're desperate to get everyone back into the office, and it's tough to imagine what they could do to make it worth people's while. Because we all saw that kind of collapse, that whole idea of like cool workspace.
Yeah.
But then you worked at Olive Garden.
I worked at Olive Garden. This is before Groupon. I worked at Olive Garden in college for 2 years.
In Times Square?
No, in college.
In college.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
For 2 years. And I got to tell you, still eat there to this day. I would eat there any day of the week. I've seen how the sausage gets made. It comes frozen. It's fine. It's all great. I will say the breadsticks are 350 calories per stick. And I used to eat roughly 11 of them per shift and then eat a shift meal. I have never looked so healthy.
No, Tova and I, we went to, because she grew up in a religious community, so she never really went to Olive Garden, so we did a Broadway night where we went to the Times Square Olive Garden.
It's not bad.
It's not terrible.
No, for a Times Square restaurant, it's not bad. I've been there.
We had I love Montreal. I really do. But the service is definitely slower than other places. And there's just with the service, they deserve everything. But the coffee refills, it's not unlimited refills if it's 30 minutes between each refill. Then it's one refill for free, as far as I'm concerned. So there was this, so it was a long time. It was a lot, I like as you're drinking it, they come over. I like that Jewish deli.
Yeah.
They have 2. They're walking
Yeah.
around. They're
Yeah.
burning people as they go.
Yeah.
And so I got like 1 cup. And also, if you're not going to do refills, that's fine. Bigger cup. You got to get a bigger
Yes,
cup. These are
very
tiny little
small.
cups. And did one. I said, "Can I have a refill?" And then like 30 minutes later, I think 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, just refill when a chance." And she was like, "I didn't forget you." And then
she was so flustered she spilled.
well, so then she was so flustered. We wanted to get the check. It was time to go, and we had to be here in 2 hours. So we were like, we better ask now if we want to make it in time. And And then before she got to us, the person behind her, she spilled coffee. And this woman was wearing linen white pants. It was a fit, and disaster. Go home kind of disaster.
Yeah. Fly back
and
to
I
the
was like,
States.
we are never getting this check.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I
so
can't tell if that's all Montreal or just this one woman at this one place.
Yeah.
You know?
It's when you go to a new place, it's very easy to be
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
wow,
yeah,
this whole
yeah, yeah.
fucking place.
I love Montreal as well. I will say I have never met a group of people in positions of service that hate you more for not speaking the language outside of America.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really don't like you if you don't speak French here. It's.
Do you give? So they go bonjour. A lot of when they go bonjour, hi.
No, yeah.
Bonjour, hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
Do you give them a bonjour back?
No, I go no.
No, thank you.
No, I don't know.
The stupidest thing I do after we do the whole exchange in American at the end, they're like, and here's your key. And I go, merci. I know 2 words.
Yeah.
Can you speak another language?
I can speak a little bit of Spanish. It sort of left me during the pandemic because I didn't speak Spanish for almost 2 years. And then, sometimes sometimes here, they'll be like, and I know this is wrong. But they'll be like, oh, do you, can I get you anything else? And I'll be like, c'est bon, it's good, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Don't ask me.
Is that right?
It sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds good. I use it
C'est bon.
way too much for it to be correct, though.
C'est bon.
C'est bon.
You digging Montreal so far?
Yeah, I'm loving it. Yeah.
Not enough ice in the drinks.
I
Yeah,
could do a
that's
little
a
more
real
air
thing.
conditioning.
Okay, good.
A little
okay.
more. A little
this
more
is me
air
testing out what's a real
conditioning,
thing and what's not.
A little more air
A
conditioning.
little more air conditioning.
Yeah. So
In certain
basically,
places.
they're just trying to take care of the environment, and you have a problem with that.
I think that's what it is. So I think
Yeah.
like the iced coffee. A lot of the iced coffee comes in paper cups, and you're like, "What's this?" And I think is there a law? Anyone from Montreal here? It's what?
They changed the law. We can't have single-use plastics for takeout anymore. It sucks.
Yeah, but you know what else sucks? The ice cap's melting.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. You're gonna need that single-use plastic as a raft when the
Yeah.
water starts
Yeah.
rising.
Exactly.
The person who shouted out, what's your name? Are you a Montreal native?
Yes,
Born and raised. Tell me what sucks about Montreal.
Honestly, they could pick another time to do construction than in the middle of the fucking summer, but it's that or snowbank, so there's no other choice.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's fun here now in the summer. I don't think I could handle the cold. That's why the malls are so big, right? Because they need all these different things indoors for
I'm
when
just
it's cold.
offended.
Yeah.
7 Montreal.
Do you think that's
people
what it was?
Who they are out.
They are done.
They are done.
They were like, we love the
They were
construction
like, we
in the
liked
summer.
it until he started.
It's beautiful.
They were like that. Enough.
Have you performed a lot in Canada in general?
Yeah, a bunch. Here, Toronto, Vancouver, Winnipeg. Yeah, all over.
People always ask, like, when you do like radio interviews, they're like, "What are Canadian audiences like versus American audience?" I never know how to answer that question without sounding just so stupid.
No,
Yeah.
they're like, it's exactly the same. Like, we share most of the same cultural sort of touchstones, except you guys are a little French.
Yeah. Do you think? I feel like the politeness, like as the stereotype, it's over.
Fully fake. It's
Yeah.
fully fake. You guys are not any nicer than us.
Yeah. In fact, they're meaner. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. Just kidding.
And how many JFLs have you been to?
Oh gosh. I think every year since my New Faces.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe not Montreal specifically, but I've done like Toronto JFL or Vancouver JFL or something like that every year since I've.
Round of applause. You're
been here.
staying in this hotel, the DoubleTree Hotel. Okay, then we won't complain about the double. I had like 10 things. Like, isn't the fucking soap the worst? We had an alarm. We had a 2 a.m. alarm. I've never had this kind of. So it was 2 a.m. the second night we were here, my girlfriend and I, and loud alarm, 2 in the morning, and they said French. They were like, do, do, do. I can't even do it.
Oh my God! You don't have to.
I don't have that
no
in my
one's
brain.
asking
I
you
can't,
to do
I
it.
can't even like
just,
do a
just
face.
say it
It
was in
sounded
French,
like
yeah.
fucking Simlish
Yeah.
what you just said.
Oshite, bozaba. Are you checking your fucking phone
No,
during the
it was
live podcast recording? Oshite, bozaba. And so you thought after that, what do you expect? An English translation.
Yes.
But instead it was like Oshita, bozaba, beep, beep. And I was like, whoa, we're not gonna translate it? Do I need to run? Can I
Yeah.
walk? Should I check the window? Like, what are we
Yeah,
doing here?
yeah.
And then after the 4 beeps, the system is then they do it in English and they said, you may need to leave the hotel. Please be ready to leave at a moment's notice. And this went on for 30 minutes.
Oh my
And
God.
a lot of people left. I said, not until the flames are licking the doorknob am I. And then you open the door and everyone's like peeking out in various
Meandering.
states of undress.
Yeah.
I left my shirt off. I don't know if that was like, but I peeked open like, oh, anyone know what's going on? And no one fucking does. Of course.
Yeah.
Who got a secret thing? Or someone said the French version actually says we're going to die in 10 seconds.
You should already be outside.
Hey guys, this is so unprofessional, but can I go pee really quick?
Yeah, you can
Oh,
be.
yeah.
I just don't want to do it on your podcast.
Sure.
No,
that would be
do
the
it.
clip
About to
for
happen.
sure.
We'll,
just
we'll,
like
we'll
vamp.
cut this part.
Just vamp.
You
Top-
pee.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, don't cut this. Peep it in.
No, Gianmarco loves cutting and editing the podcast. So,
All right, let's. I want to tell that. So sometimes I have a moment at a show that I did not know how to handle, and we tried to game plan it. So I did a show at a JCC. We all know what JCC is? No.
Jewish Community Center.
He learned that this morning.
No, okay.
But you said it in a
I've
way
been
like
to
a like a
tons of
word of the
JCCs.
day. You were like a JCC. It's my Jewish term
I
of the
used to go
day.
to the JCC all the time when I was a Manny because the kid would go there.
Okay.
So I would take him.
So it was a JCC event. What that means, they say go a little cleaner. There's going to be some old people there. It's not necessarily going to be the most poppin' show, but it's communities, and I hope to. I want to figure out how to do well at JCCs, and because I'm making some yarmulke merch, and they're not buying it in Alabama. I'll tell you that. So we go, and it's like, I'd say it's like 150 people, and a woman comes up and she says, hi, just so you know, I run an organization. We bring adults with autism who don't go out normally, and it's like a big group of 20 people, and we're going to be seated over there. Just wanted to let you know, in case you notice that part of the audience is not reacting as you would normally expect them to react. I'm like, that's great, that's fine, okay? It's a rare moment, honestly. I think the most egotistical part is I'm like, I'm a good person tonight.
Yeah.
I would have performed,
Yeah.
for literal Nazis.
Yeah.
But so I was doing this JCC event, and a woman said, just so you know, a big group of this event, it's a community of adults with autism, and they don't go out normally, so we bring them out for events. I was like, great. And I'm doing the show, and at some point I mention a friend of mine who's gay or has a boyfriend, and I say he's gay, and one of the adults goes, ew. And I didn't know, in the context of a comedy show, how to handle it in a way that would keep the good times rolling. And I didn't, because I didn't want to be like, hey, fuck you.
Yeah.
I didn't want to chastise. I didn't want to
You
roast.
You didn't want to be an ally.
I didn't want to be an ally.
Yeah.
I said, you know
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
I'm an ally when it's
Yeah.
convenient, but not when
Yeah.
it stands in the way of one joke. But I wasn't sure. What would you have done?
I would not be telling stand-up jokes. That would be the first thing. 'cause
Sure,
I'm not
sure.
stand-up. But I don't know because it's a complicated thing because it's an adult. You don't know who they are really.
I don't know who they
You're
are.
told a little bit.
I
of the
don't know,
background.
yeah.
I would have just off spitballing. I would have been like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror, or something along those lines? Because you can't in my position. There's no way I can get out
Sure.
of that without
Yeah.
being mean.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's just no way. How am I going to gracefully handle someone saying my lifestyle is you?
Yeah.
It's like you're. Never mind. I'm not going to say that.
Well,
I think what I did was, it's the lamest version. I was like, no. It's not ew.
Yeah.
It's all ew if we really think about it. Everything, the whole spectrum.
Yeah.
Gay, straight, we're all gross. That was my attempt, and it did not work. It was a bad event.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's nothing to do. Sometimes there's no good way out of you can't. But
No.
I can't roast him.
No.
I mean, you would.
Well, he's on the
Because
autism spectrum.
Oh, did
It
you
was
miss that part?
No, I know that he is.
But you can. That's why the
On
thing
the
is.
autism
That's the thing
spectrum.
is like you can, because I think that's something that gets missed is like there's a condensation to not treat people like you would treat everyone.
Yeah.
Is weird
Sure.
too. So he can be on the autism
I
spectrum
wouldn't- yeah.
and be an asshole.
I wouldn't
Do you know?
zero in
Yeah.
on.
Truthfully.
I wouldn't make your comeback about him
About
being on the
autism.
autism spectrum, but like
No.
I
He's
think
not
it's-
as
I
far
think
as
it's-
on
I
the
think
gay
it's a-
spectrum as you are
Yeah.
on the autism
You can-
I
spectrum.
think it's a little patronizing to not
Yes,
clap back.
it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
wasn't.
failed.
I failed. No,
Yeah.
I definitely did.
Yeah. You could have
I
made fun of
honestly
his
don't know what
clothes.
if I were in your position, I would have frozen up too. I would have because you want to be you want to triangulate and be aware of all of the optics of everything you're about to say, and that's not conducive to like being a good,
Yeah.
funny stand up in the moment. You know.
Which mental disability do you think you'd be best handled to equip a comeback for?
Oh,
I'm just kidding. You were thinking about it for a second. You were like,
You really took a moment.
I was. Yeah.
You were like schizophrenia.
but then one of the other adults came up to me after the show and he said like, oh, I wanted to come to a comedy show. It's just a guy complaining on stage for an hour.
Oh.
And again, I was just like, fuck, what the fuck, dude? You can be an autistic and an asshole at the same time.
Definitely. Yeah.
And yeah.
I don't think they'd love to be called
No.
an autistic.
No. No.
That's not how I meant to phrase it.
No. Definitely not.
It's a problem with live podcasts. This would be so, all right, let's see. We left in New York,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got into stand-up
Yep. Well, got in stand up in Chicago.
in Chicago.
Moved to New York to do stand up like as much as possible. Yeah.
Did you like living in Chicago?
I did. I think Chicago's a really great place. It's a great incubator for any sort of artistic pursuit because it has you have as much access as you do in New York to stage time and things like that. But it's not without the pressure of like actual industry eyes being on you the whole time you're like coming up. So I was
Yeah.
able to be really experimental and like figure out my voice as a stand-up to a certain degree before going to New York and like jumping into the deep end and doing it. But it was great. Yeah, it's like very cold, but it was a good time.
What is it like coming back to like a stand-up comedy centered festival, and your life has brought on so many things that are not stand-up?
Yeah.
I mean, you were talking a little backstage, just like not feeling like you're in super fighting shape, like to the way you might have been in the past.
Right.
Do you come and you go, I don't give a shit. I'll go back to fighting shape when I want to. Does it feel weird? Do you miss it? Are you like I'm over the crazy hustle of it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely like that's the thing is that like that hustle like that I had to have early in my career made me a better stand-up, and now that I don't have to work as hard to get stage time, I'm a worse stand-up for it. And I do miss feeling really good at doing this, but I don't miss. I guess I prefer being able to own a house. So.
Sure.
So it's like you take the good, you take the bad. But I mean, being in environments like this, like it really does, like it really it ignites like the love.
Yeah.
Of this. Because the thing is like I am getting to the point where like I've been doing this now for over a decade, and like I love it. It's my first love. It's the thing that I feel the most like self-actualized doing. Like it's the thing where like I'm not getting network notes on it. I'm not like there's no barrier to entry. Like it's just me and my brain and the stage and the audience, and it's great. But I am getting to the point where it's like, at what point? Because let's be honest, like there are people in this industry who get famous from doing other things and from doing stand-up and release like their 4th or 5th special, and it's really bad. And it's really bad because they can get away with it because they're famous. And I never want to get to that point. And
Yeah.
that is like I would rather quit before I release a special that is like clapter and not funny and just sort of resting on like having fans. And that's like we were talking backstage. This is the problem is that like when I released all the material in my Netflix special was material I was writing as I was coming up and as I was headlining clubs where they did not know who I was, where it was just like people showing up to a club trusting that they booked a funny comedian, and I would have to work really hard to get people on my side and like perform for people who didn't care if I lived or died. And now I'm touring, and it's like 80% of the audiences are people who like me from the movie or from the special or from something else that I've done, and these motherfuckers will laugh at whatever jib jab I say, and it is so frustrating because it's like I don't trust myself, I don't trust any of my material anymore, because I'm like, you know, I just feel like it is I'm like operating at a like a lazier level, and that's my problem. That's not necessarily the audience's problem, but it is my problem. But being at places like Montreal really does make me like I already like since being here for like 12 hours, I feel like I've written like 3 better jokes or 3 better versions of jokes that I've had in my set, and like just being there last night. But it's like the newest sensation for me is like being nervous again to do stand-up.
Sure.
Like I never like there. I would say from like years like 2 to 8 I was not nervous doing stand-up at all. Like it was the one thing I knew I was good at. And now I'm sort of like, I don't know. Like I know I'm a funny person, but is this like the best thing for me to be doing? I don't know. It is one of those things where I'm like, I want to quit before I hit like that level of special that like everyone talks about in our community, being like, did you see that special? It was dog shit. You know, like
Let's list the comedians right now.
Yeah, exactly.
We got. I think, but like clearly, like clearly, those people probably didn't think they probably may have said at a younger time in their life, like, I don't want to end up like that either. And then one day, someone says, "Hey, 10 million," and then they go, "Oh, I took a weird shit yesterday. I'll talk about that for 10 minutes."
I think that there's like a fair amount. I have struggled since the beginning of my career with a fair amount of imposter syndrome about belonging in this industry. And I think like that
Really?
has to,
Why?
well, I think like, you know, there weren't a lot of gay stand-ups coming up when I was coming up, and then when I did reach a certain amount of success, there was a lot of talk about it being like, oh, because it's a gimmick, or it's like this new wave of like woke comedy or whatever, and like that people being like, I'm a diversity hire, like, you know, hearing stuff like that constantly as you're coming up and having every success that you have invalidated by people saying that, like it makes you question yourself even more. And I feel like a lot of like the really successful comics who are releasing bad specials have never once in their entire career questioned whether or not they belong in this career. And so like they don't even think that it's even a possibility that their shit could be bad. Whereas I've questioned every single joke I've ever written and wondered like, is this bad? Is this like me, you know, resting on my laurels? Is this like me like, you know, utilizing, I don't know. I've just always questioned myself, like no matter how successful I've been in this industry, like I've always wondered, like, do I belong here?
When you first came up, who were the like gay comics that had succeed? Like, I mean, like I remember like from my youth, it was like Ant,
yeah, Alec Mapa a little bit, but there really wasn't anyone who'd broken through in a big way. Not in certainly the same way that like gay women have, you know, had a fair amount of success with.
Well, also a lot of them started straight into the scene and then came out.
Exactly. But no,
all those old Ellen specials are very. Yeah. She's wearing a full suit and she's like, "I hate dating men." Yeah. Getting closer.
But there weren't gay headliners when I was coming up. There just weren't.
Sure.
And so it was like. It was very lonely. Like I think like in my class, like the only other gay comic that I knew and that we like sort of clung to was Mateo. And like that was it for a long, long time. And then it wasn't until like I met Bowen and other people in this sort of new Julio Torres and like Sam Taggart and all of these people did I finally realize that like there was a community of gay comedy and there was people that wanted to show up for it. But it's just different now, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, Mateo's a killer, too.
Yeah.
Mateo does not rest on his laurels. Well, very cool. I mean, do you think, being here, you're like, well, maybe I will. Like, because if you want to get back into stand-up shape, you have to block out space.
Yeah.
You have to, like, be like, okay, no writer's room for a little bit. No. I mean,
yeah, exactly. And that's, like, the problem because, again, I own a house. And I have to pay for that house, and I can't pay for my house doing $20 spots at the comedy store. You know,
Sure.
so it is like tough, but like it's also living in LA. I will say this, like living in New York and doing stand up in New York, you will be the best version of yourself as a comic, bar none, because the audiences are great. There's so much stage time. You can do 3 shows in a night. Like that was my rhythm when I was living in New York, is I would go up 3 times a night and then come back. And now living in LA, there's a couple things. Like LA, there's just less stage time. The audiences are unfortunately dumber.
You really think that's true?
I think that's true. Yeah, unequivocally. I think they are less comedy literate. Like most of the audiences in New York are people that see comedy, love comedy, see a lot of comedy. So you can do experimental stuff and you can do stuff that like pushes the form a little bit because they're ready for it. Whereas in LA, A, like they're not seeing as much comedy, and B, there are so many people in LA that are in that audience that want to be where you are, who are like industry people, who are like out of work actors or people who are trying to do something and just like or sit there and just sort of be like, how do I do what that person I want the attention, you know?
Yeah.
And so you're fighting against that a little bit. And then I'll say the other big thing too that's changed in my life in the last 2 years is I am in a relationship for the first time in my life. And like I no longer can be that guy that stays out until 2 a.m. doing spots and then like come home and like, you know, jerk off and go to bed. Like I have this whole other person in my life that like wants to spend time with me and that I want to spend time with. And so like it's not only just like job stuff that's taking me away from stand up, it's this horrible man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just there's sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to stay good at stand up, but ultimately it's like to be good is to be a poor time management.
Yeah.
I mean, it truly is a nightmare.
Yeah.
And I'm sure my girlfriend's listening to this right now, like, oh, that's great.
But you're lucky. I
good.
mean, she at least like is in the industry too.
People say this all the time, and I got to tell you, people go, oh, your girlfriend's in the industry, so she must be cool with you being a selfish piece of shit. And I'm like, no, she's in the industry, but she's still like a human being who wants you there for her birthday.
Yeah.
The worst thing I did, this was the first year that we dated. I got, she was like, you know, we'll do something that night. And I said, oh, great. So that means that if there's a show in the middle of the day, that's okay. And I hosted a show like in a park in New York City on her birthday. Staten Island. And I thought, I know what I love. When I was on stage, I said, it's my girlfriend's birthday today. Everyone say happy birthday to my girlfriend. Like that would make up for it in some capacity. 12 strangers
she
wishing
went
her
to
a
it?
happy birthday.
You made her go to it?
I didn't make her go to it. You know?
Staten Island. Wow.
So yeah, I
Yeah,
hear
it's
you.
tough.
And I've never been a better comic than at that day of my life. It's been downhill since. All right, let's go on to our next segment. This has got to stop.
This has got to stop.
Wow.
It's funnier if you knew how long we talked about the moment that you just witnessed backstage. This has got to stop. This is where we talk about something that needs to stop, something big, small, personal, broad. Russell, do
Yeah,
this
I have a
gotta
quick
stop?
specific one. There's a specific ad that plays before a Pornhub video that has got to stop because it is. I don't like. Okay, it's a form. It is a form of like. It's she's diddling and then she's like don't touch that skip ad and she like tells it like she can see you. You know, I don't like that. I know that she can't see me, but I don't like that they're making me feel like she can see me. It just makes me uncomfortable.
There's a moment in your brain where you
Where
go,
I'm like,
what?
oh, like, it's very slight, but I just don't like that. It makes me feel uncomfortable. So I don't like that. That's got to stop. I understand the reasoning. It makes me feel more active. I listen more, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of good porn ads. It's always too much.
Yeah, no.
We've talked about the
calm
semen
one,
X.
yeah.
Where it has 2 cups next to each other.
It's like
and
pouring.
Like a little bit of semen.
Oh, yeah, I
and
don't
it's
get
like
that
what a
one.
pathetic amount. And then it's like
Giants.
over the
like,
brim. They're like, don't you want
Don't you
this?
want all
And I'm
this
like,
semen?
No,
Yeah,
a cup's
it's
worth.
Too much. It's
Too much
I'd have to
semen.
move out of my house.
It's overflowing. You're like now you need an ad for paper
Yeah.
towels to wipe up all the semen that's on the counter.
It's too much semen. Yeah.
All right. Only a couple more porn ad ones. It's always porn ads for your This Has Gotta Stop. Every day it's some
I'm
new
in a
porn
hotel
ad.
room.
Let's see. I'll stick with the porn vibes. So there's a lot of like sponsored. People do sponsored posts on Instagram. It's fine. Get your money. But there's like a vibrator company that a lot of people will post, and it's it's like you got to get this vibrator, use this code, blah blah blah. But the picture they always do is as if they look like glamorous and they have the thing and they're kind of blushing. They're like, this vibrator is really good. I'm like, you didn't fucking just do it. You didn't just do it and then take this nice photo with the good lighting.
Yeah.
If I want to believe it, like there should be typos in the thing. Like you're like this. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This vibrator
sweaty.
fucking
Yeah.
rocked my
Oh my
world.
God.
I can't even finish this post.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the code is. Figure it out. I want to use it again right now.
Yeah.
That's why this has got to stop. If you're gonna advertise the product, fucking, and they don't do it for guys. I've noticed there's no guys doing fleshlight ones. I don't know if maybe they're selling better.
Oh, they are.
They are?
Yeah.
You've got
Just
some
not-
offers?
Yeah, for sure.
For fleshlights particularly?
Wait, what do you just mean ads for fleshlights?
No. I mean like a sponsored
Sponsored.
post. Like you've seen so many comedians
Yeah,
particularly.
yeah.
Do they ask you like Joel for?
Oh no, actually, yeah, not for a fleshlight, but this other like lube company did recently ask me to do that, and I was like down for it, but it's now.
What
at
would
the
your
point.
angle be? Would it be just
I'd
like
be like, oh, too slippery,
the phone, the camera would be like the shot would be here?
Whoa.
This was the best shot I got because this lube is unbeatable. Do you have a This Has Gotta Stop?
Yeah, I guess I wasn't super prepared. But
That's
I
why
can
we
do-
went first over here.
I
just
can
to-
do one. It's like hyper personal, and it's sort of something that I was thinking about in preparation to talk to you on this, because you were talking the way I was pitching this podcast was that like, oh, it's like the downside to being famous or what.
Oh, is that what
have
they
you.
said?
That's
Oh,
what
they said famous.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which
I wonder
was-
if they just said that like, listen, if you want to get Joel, you need to lead with, listen, you're super famous.
I
We
was
know
go-
this.
I was gonna take umbrage with the premise of the podcast because I don't feel that is my situation. Like I think I'm like if I'm in a gay bar, there are maybe a couple people who know who I am. Like I'm gay famous to a certain degree, but like most straight people don't care if I live or die. Like make some.
We know
like,
your work.
Hoot and holler in this room if you've never heard of me ever or seen me ever before today. Yeah,
What a
asked
weird
for
thing
that.
to like get
that was
applause.
not
Just
a-
like
Yeah.
I don't know who you are.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's
didn't
that's the
seem
thing.
proud
But I
about
will
it.
say like in like gay concentrated spaces, because I made a very gay movie and am who I am. Like there are people who know me. But the thing that for me has to stop, and the thing that has been really ruined by any amount of success that I've had in this industry, is every time I'm at a sex party now, someone will stop to either say like, thank you so much for all of your work in representation, or like be like, I literally was like Overpride was at a very modest orgy, and I
What's a modest orgy like?
30 some guys.
30.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's my I didn't know it was a little one.
But-
just 3 rooms.
I was literally on the bed, like fucking a guy, and this guy came and stood next to us and just waited. And he was like, "You're that guy." And I was like, "That guy what? That guy who's fucking your friend?" Like, I don't understand like what we're supposed to get out of this conversation. But it is like the biggest boner killer in the entire world
Yeah.
is when you're trying to have anonymous sex and somebody is like, "I loved you in that NBC pilot that didn't go," you know?
Has it ever happened during sex where they're like, "Are you going to put this in one of your skits?" I bet.
Oh, all the time. That
All the
happens all the
time.
time. That has got to stop. That I will say, it is like also when I hook up with people, like I hate it when they tell me they know who I am after we've had sex. Like it is like the police. If you know who I am, you have to disclose immediately. Because like half the time they'll be like, "Oh, and by the way, I'm a big fan," and I'll be like, "I wish you would have told me that because I wouldn't have been such a fucking freak just now."
Yeah?
You know, like
You
'cause-
tamp it down.
Yeah, I'd be like, I would have more normal sex, you know, and not so, you know.
Audience, anyone got it? This has got to stop, please. People get shy here. I know some of you got complaints. Come on. You have one?
Oh,
That's
go
fine.
for it.
I mean,
Yeah,
look, we
'cause
just
mine wasn't niche.
the common 10 people in this audience are like, I hate it when that
Yes,
happens.
I've noticed in an orgy.
What's your This Has Got to Stop?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
yeah.
Yes. Okay, Colleen
Yeah.
Ballinger. Again, one
Miranda
of those.
sings.
Miranda sings. She, it's the number of things she was accused of is pretty wide and vast.
Yeah.
But she weird with fans. Weird
Weird with
messages.
I you know what? I'm gonna actually go further than what you just said, and I'm gonna say YouTube stars need to stop. I don't know what happened to some of these people on YouTube, but it is
I know
rotted
what
their
happened.
brains from the inside out.
This is a weird, like almost pro why some gatekeepers are necessary. Because I think when you're a YouTube star, you literally can succeed with no one telling you like, what's this?
Yeah.
Why would you do this? And basically your only gatekeeper is the algorithm, and the algorithm is not looking out for your well-being in the history of time. Like Colleen Ballinger, she basically got in trouble with these weird messages, weird like grooming, like uncomfortable, and like suddenly people like looked at her old videos, and she did Gangnam Style. She did a parody of that song Gangnam Style, where she's just the way I tried to do with French earlier.
Yeah.
You know how that was okay when I did that?
Yeah.
It's not okay
Yeah.
when it's
Yeah.
Korean. And
She's pulling out the ching chong. She's pulling out the ching chong.
Yeah.
Tamagotchi. I mean, it was.
She also did Single Ladies in Blackface, I want to say.
Okay, her lawyers claimed that it was the lighting that she was actually doing wicked face, green face, which is still okay, and the lighting
Because
made it look like
yes.
blackface. But I don't know. It wasn't good. It's all, and on top of it, it's all really bad.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not like,
I
wow,
gotta
that's a
say-
good Single Ladies. I wish it was not blackface, but
Yeah.
the dance moves are on point. You can't. It wasn't that.
My thing is like obviously let's bring down Colleen Ballinger, Miranda Sings sucks ass, etc. But like there are people that are skating by who are not getting flack, and that is these fucking gay guys that backup danced for her and all of these terrible videos. They are complicit, okay? They are complicit, and they need to be sent to jail as well.
Because they knew.
They
knew the
knew.
Gangnam
They
Style.
knew.
They said,
They
this is
knew.
not going to go great. And then she basically, her apology, it's truly amazing to top bad apologies, but she did it in a song.
Yeah, she did it in a song in the most millennial core way, which is she did it as a ukulele song, like a twee ukulele song, which is electric chair, you know?
And here's the saddest part of the whole Colleen Ballinger, that if I go on Instagram and I try to go message Colleen Ballinger, if I were to do that, you will see, and this was from a long time ago, hey, Colleen, I would love to have you as a guest on the Downside podcast if you're ever in New York City.
Hey, girl.
And then when the thing happened 10 months later, I wrote back, you know what? Never mind.
Never mind. You know what? Actually,
Invitation revoked.
Yeah, redacted. Yeah.
Our final segment.
You better count your blessings.
You better count your blessing. We got negative. We got pessimistic. I forgot to think of a blessing, to be
Okay,
honest.
I'll go.
This is where we say something nice, something sweet we're thankful for. Russell.
I'm going to be vague and sorry, but I found out this week I'm going to have a new job that I'm very excited about, and I can't say what it is yet, but it's very exciting. And thank you, my manager Tova, Gianmarco's girlfriend, who been so helpful in this process, and I'm very excited. And
You're going to make a great assistant, and I can't wait to have you on the team. Thank you, Tova. It was an offer. You didn't even have to audition for that shit. Good for you.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I'm being honest, being back at JFL the year after is very, very cool. And I got to be here longer. And even though I talked some shit about Montreal, I don't know. I've been feeling a little low on New York. And I think it's partly because you guys sent all your fucking smoke to our city.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really crazy. You weren't there. I mean,
I was
you've
there.
dealt-
I was there. I was
you
there
were.
for Pride. Yeah, I was there for Pride, and it was miserable.
I mean, it was
It's crazy.
It felt apocalyptic. It felt like, you know how, I don't know, 5 years ago, all the global warming scientists were like, guys, if we don't do something in 5 years, it's going to be bad. And now it's 5 years later. And there's moments where, and they go back to the scientists and they'll go like, hey, what do we do now?
like,
and
"It's
they're
too
like,
late."
it's just here.
Yeah.
And it's just bad now. And now at some
This
point
is your
we die.
blessing. Well, I mean, we're like.
So, Montreal, the food here is
Very good.
phenomenal.
Very
It
good food.
takes a little longer, but like I got a smoothie, and I've never seen this in anywhere in America where they made the smoothie and then she took it off the blender, did a taste test with a spoon, and was like, 3 more blueberries and put them in. And that kind of care, it shows and it tastes, and I'm thankful to be in Montreal. So thank you for this great festival. Since your government is definitely losing money on this festival, for sure. There's no way you're profiting. Do you have a blessing?
Yeah, I mean, mine's sort of lame and easy, but my blessing is my boyfriend for sure. I think like to have someone who's so supportive, and like I had an okay show last night, and I was like texting with him, and he sent me a really nice video message to like cheer me up, and like to have somebody in my corner like that. Like as much as I was saying like it's difficult to have the cadence of going up as much as I used to, like it's also it sort of balances out because now I have this like person in my corner who's supporting me, and it's nice.
That's very sweet.
Yeah.
I had a rough show last night too, and I went to Tova, and she said, "Baby, I'm here for work too." No, Tova's the best. Thank you very much to Joel
Thank
Kim
you.
Booster for being here. It was an honor. We were
Thank
so
you.
lucky to get him. Russell for flying all the way to
Yes,
Montreal.
yes.
Thank you to JFL Comedy Pro. This is The Downside. Good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You're listening to The Downside
The Downside.
with Gianmarco Soresi.
Tell him, Russell.
Subscribe to The Downside right now.
Where?
Down here. Or here. We don't know, but just do it.
Or also, what else could they do?
They could follow the Patreon. They could subscribe to the Patreon.
I
No! Sorry.
Patreon.com/downside.
Too much pressure.